Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching. It's baking hot here in Madrid, but I can't complain. I do love the summer. I just love the longer days. Today, my wellness leader friends, I'm speaking to landowners. Landowners who want to create something meaningful. So, you know exactly what you want to build. So, why haven't you started yet? This is something I see very often. And this is something also my landowners tell me when they actually reach out to me and become my clients. So, clearly, there are many things that have happened in your life to get you to the point you've either inherited a piece of land or you have very intentionally purchased a piece of land. And you are crystal clear that whatever you want to build on it has to have a positive impact. And you, as a landowner, might not even perceive yourself as a hotelier or as a wellness retreat guru. But what you do know is that you want to create something special. And you've most probably researched a lot. You've probably also visited many places that you love and you have drawn inspiration from them. And that is what you want to also offer to your guests in your property. And it's almost like you actually know the feeling of what you want to offer. You know in your mind what that looks like. And you also know in your heart, in your gut, what it's going to look like. And if it doesn't look like that, you know that that is off. But when it comes to clearly articulating your vision, so what exactly it is that you want, when it comes to articulating that to your designers, other consultants, that is when things get difficult. That is when you realize, oh, I have kind of this disconnect between what is in my mind and my gut and what I have put on a piece of paper. So today I want to talk about why so many landowners, you have brilliant ideas, ideas that the larger hotel chains would die to even come up with. And you have that idea. You have created it in your mind and it has huge potential, but it's stalled. You've not started it or it's not got off the ground or, you're not moving forward. You're not progressing. So today I want to unpack why not being able to clearly articulate your vision, and that boils down to clarity, is incredibly dangerous because it is this lack of clarity in articulating what you want that causes severe delays in projects, not to mention an absolute drain on your financial resources. And I also want to talk about the number one mistake I see landowners make when it comes to the concept, and that is getting experts in very soon. And that again only drains your finances and causes more delays. So I'm going to use one of my clients as an example. So Corey, before he reached out to me, Corey is a landowner of a beautiful piece of land in West Africa. And he wants to create a singular wellness retreat that will be new in the entire region of Africa. Now, this is how we say it today, and this is how he says it today. But fast forward a year or two back, when he purchased the land, it was this is going to be a kind of a low key but meaningful place where I impact people's lives. This is a place where people can heal and regenerate. And I also want to share with people when they eat healthily, when they eat plant based, what impact it has on their health. So that was the kind of intention that went in. But when it came to actually putting it on paper, so getting all the ideas, the fantastic ideas that were in his mind, to actually get it onto a piece of paper so that his design team and other consultants that were coming on board to were clear on what his vision was, so that everyone was going to be singing off the same hymn sheet. That in itself was a process. And when we're working with something that is so personal to us, something that is so dear to us, it's difficult to put it on a piece of paper. Because first and foremost, it is an emotion business. It's emotion led. You have a strong purpose, you want to leave your legacy, and it's personal to you. And it has to be done right too. And that puts a very, very different spin to, let's say, investors or family offices just acquiring a number of products, hospitality products in their portfolio. Because what they want is just somewhere to invest their money. And it's not personal for them per se. I'm not saying that there aren't people who don't invest with that intention, but it's just seeing where can I put my money on something that is different and that will give me a guaranteed return on investment. So when I work with my landowners, what I notice is that they have the idea, they have the vision, but when it comes to actually kind of painting it, they delegate that to experts out there. They hire other people to write their vision for them. And this tends to be, majority of the time, it is brand led. So you have to get your logo first, you have to get your website first, you have to create this incredibly fancy branding around it, have your customer persona clear. And that is, the underlying assumption is that is what's going to make, that is your way of explaining your vision. And what I want to show is that is actually not the way forward when it comes to clarity. When you're trying to get your stakeholders on board, when you're trying to pull together the right team, they need to know what is important to you. Now, your job is not to do their job for them. You've hired these experts in the hope that they're going to know their line of work. But what they can't know is your vision. They can't know what it is that you want to build. So the number one thing every landowner needs to do is get clear on pretty much their compass. Where are they headed? And this is something you can't delegate to someone else. It simply doesn't work that way. It's like saying, my coach, my marathon coach, I can delegate him the running of my miles, while I sit and, hope that I will get stronger. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So in my essence model, so I've talked about it extensively in my book, The Wellness Asset. The first stage of the model expectation is all about creating that perfect concept. In other words, getting that clarity of your vision. And what gives you that clarity of vision is pretty much anchoring what you want into this triad of a values ecosystem. And the reason I use this values ecosystem and I don't follow branding personas or marketing personas or customer behavior is because our industry right now is growing at an exponential rate. And the customer profiles or the personas that are relevant today might not be relevant in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. And on average, it takes good 2 to 3 years for you to actually create, to actually go from your blueprint phase, create your master plan, to actually open your project, your hotel. That takes a good few years in of itself. So you can't then open your doors and then suddenly find that the persona you were targeting apparently is no longer in. They're a different kind of persona. But what I have found is that values is something that only gets stronger with time. Now, I'm not saying that you don't evolve and that your values don't evolve. That does happen. But instead of there being an overhaul of values, what ends up happening is you have a clearer idea of what is important to you. So, just as a person, just as we live our values, we live our lives according to our values, our beliefs, our businesses are conducted according to its values. Now, they don't even need to be customer facing values, but they're values that the business actually lives by. And what I have found that the values I have created, what I create with groups, rarely is the same as what a branding or marketing agency would come. Now, one is not better than the other, but what it is important to understand, what's important here to understand, is that you actually know what route you're following. When you follow the values, that system just has a more durable and timeless element to it. And when I talk about that triad, that values ecosystem, you've got what's important to the business. What values do you genuinely live by? They don't need to be published. And what it means to be part of your place, whatever destination you are, what are the values of your destination? And then, incredibly important, are the values of the ideal guest. Who is it that you want to attract? And this goes beyond demographics. It's more about ethos. So you could be 20-year-old or you could be 50-year-old. What is it that you both have in common? And that tends to be your values. So this is the exercise you need to do as a landowner when you're starting out. Invest that time to be clear on this triad of your values ecosystem. And once you're clear on that, that is when you can actually get in other consultants and other experts on board. So when you hand them this vision of yours, this very clearly articulated vision of yours, then they're able to do their magic. But if you give them something vague, something fuzzy, they'll end up having to do your job for you as well as their own. And they will never satisfy you. Because when you don't have it written down, you will constantly try to evolve your vision or change it or adapt it to what's happening in the market. You become more reactive instead of proactive and intentional. So that is what that values ecosystem does. And to give the story of Corey, when he first started, he had all the ideas in his mind. They were brilliant ideas, but they were all scattered. And when he reached out to me, the first process was just getting clear, like kind of compartmentalizing all that information and saying, okay, what is it that you want to offer? Why do you want to do what you're doing? And who exactly you want to serve? We are talking again about actually values of the person and not their age, the demographics, or the consumer behavior patterns. It's speaking directly to what makes them tick. And when we worked with Corey to work through his values ecosystem, or his gyroscope, as I call it, that leading compass, we found that that entire process of ideating your values, your place's values, and your ideal guest or your avatar's values, that that process in itself is what helped Corey get the clarity to then go and find who is the right fit for me, who exactly gets my concept. Because at the end of the day, there are many great professionals out there, but the one that works for you needs to be someone where there is some form of alignment. And you do that through your values. What is it that you represent? Why are you doing this? And who exactly you want to serve? And there, I've talked a lot about the clarity of your vision. So you're clear in your mind, in your gut. And now the idea is you're also clear on a piece of paper what that vision is. And you feel confident that you can explain it to someone. You feel confident saying, okay, I don't think these people are going to get me, no matter how brilliant they are. So you'll have the confidence to turn down people that probably aren't that right fit and attract those who are the right fit. And when we look at the entire project from this lens, you start seeing that everything falls into place. And without that clarity, you end up really making your journey considerably more difficult and more expensive because you will struggle to explain to designers what exactly you want, even to other consultants, what exactly you want. And they are going to struggle to give you what you want because what you want is not clear to you, and that might also be changing over time. So, getting that clarity is key, as that is what saves you time and money further down the road. And in July, so being aired live from the 21st to the 25th of July is my third spotlight. So this is a virtual wellness summit that I run every year. And this year, my focus is from land to legacy. So I am speaking to you, landowners, who deep down know what they want to build, but they just have not managed to get their project, their dream off the ground. And in this 5-day event, I will be walking you through what Corey's journey looked like. From getting that piece of land in Western Africa and having a modest idea that I have this land, I would like to just build a nice retreat, to actually saying, I'm a boutique wellness hotelier with residences and have crystal clear, these are the people I want to attract as investors. And if these people don't fit a certain profile that you have in mind, then they clearly will never ever be that good fit going forward. So when you can clearly articulate what you want, things are suddenly a lot more smoother, a lot more cost effective, and you're working alongside team members who are supporting you, who you've managed to kind of rally this support. They want to back you up. They want you to have that success. But you can't do that when you don't carve out the time to actually get clear on your vision. So from the 21st to the 25th of July, if you are that landowner who has brilliant ideas, but you've not quite managed to get your concept off the ground, build what you want to build, then I strongly recommend you join me and Corey as we talk about from land to legacy, his journey that he has been taking for the last few years before he even purchased his land, to purchasing his land, then taking a few expensive and costly detours, and now getting to a point where he's incredibly clear what he wants. There is that clarity in terms of your vision, and there is also the clarity in terms of who you are or who you need to become in order to build what you really want to build. So, for those of you who are interested in joining, keep your eyes peeled. I will be sharing more information from Land to Legacy in the next few days. So, wishing you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.